Security agencies across the Western world are facing renewed pressure as authorities in the United States, Europe, and Australia deal with a series of alleged and confirmed terror-related incidents in quick succession. In the United States, the FBI says it has disrupted an alleged bomb plot targeting multiple locations in Southern California. Investigators say the plan involved coordinated attacks on immigration agents and official vehicles across LA and Orange County, with New Year's Eve identified as the intended date. Several suspects were arrested in Lucerne Valley, where authorities allege explosive devices were being prepared and tested ahead of the planned attacks. Those detained have been charged with conspiracy and possession of a destructive device, and the FBI has since confirmed a fifth arrest.
In November 2025, Defendant Carroll created a detailed bombing plot to use explosive devices to attack 5 or more locations across Southern California on this upcoming New Year's Eve. Carroll and her co-defendant, Zachary Page, led the effort to obtain and build the bombs and to recruit others to join in their plot.
FBI Director Kash Patel said the suspects are believed to be linked to a radical offshoot of the group known as the Turtle Island Liberation Front. Law enforcement officials allege the group is motivated by pro-Palestinian, anti-law enforcement and anti-government ideology. The alleged plot comes amid heightened global security concerns following a deadly ISIS-inspired attack in Bondi, Australia. Police say the suspect targeted a Hanukkah event, killing attendees in what authorities have described as an ideologically motivated act of terrorism.
What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil, an act of anti-Semitism, an act of terrorism on our shores in an iconic Australian location, Bondi Beach, that is associated with joy, associated with families gathering, associated with celebrations. And it is forever tarnished by what has occurred last evening. This was an attack deliberately targeted at the Jewish community on the first day of Hanukkah, which of course should be a joyous celebration, and the Jewish community are hurting today. Today, all Australians wrap our arms around them and say, we stand with you. We will do whatever is necessary to stamp out anti-Semitism. It is a scourge, and we will eradicate it together. We will dedicate every single resource that is required in responding to this.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Last night I announced that I had determined that it was a terrorist activity and made a declaration as such as 9:36 p.m. As a result of that declaration, we commenced Operation ARQUS, ARQUES, which is a joint counter-terrorism operation. That is New South Wales Police working very closely with our Commonwealth partners to ensure that we thoroughly investigate the circumstances of the incident yesterday.
Australian investigators say the attacker was inspired by ISIS propaganda and are examining how the individual became radicalised, as well as whether warning signs were missed prior to the attack. At the same time in Europe, German authorities say they have foiled a potential Islamist plot to attack a Christmas market. Security services say the suspect was arrested following intelligence indicating an imminent threat to a crowded public space during the festive period. German officials have stressed that the investigation remains ongoing, but say the case highlights continued risks linked to Islamist extremism, particularly around symbolic public events. While authorities in the US, Australia and Germany say there is no evidence linking these cases, security officials are warning of a persistent and evolving terror threat driven by different ideologies and methods. From alleged far-left extremism in the United States to ISIS-inspired violence in Australia and suspected Islamist plots in Europe, officials say the common thread is the targeting of civilians and high-profile public spaces. Governments are urging heightened vigilance as major events and holidays approach, with intelligence agencies working to detect radicalization early and disrupt threats before they can be carried out. Officials say the recent cases underline the complexity of modern terrorism, fragmented, fast-moving, and increasingly difficult to predict. GB News' Mark White has been reporting the latest on the terror threat on GB News this morning.
So officials in Australia have given an update on the investigation into the weekend's horrific mass shooting in Bondi Beach, which left 15 people dead. Here's a listen.
I can confirm that they did travel to the Philippines. The reasons why they went to the Philippines and the purpose of that and where they went when they were there is under investigation at the moment. I also confirm that the vehicle which is registered to the younger male contained IEDs, but I also confirm that it contained 2 homemade ISIS flags.
And in related news in the US, the FBI have revealed that they've stopped a planned terrorist bombing in Los Angeles on New Year's Eve. The 4 suspects are from a pro-Palestine extremist group and they remain in custody.
It's reported, horrifically, they were planning to target 5 different locations. Our Home Security editor, Mark White, as ever, knows all. Mark, morning.
Yeah, this is a group of far-left, pro-Palestinian offshoot, anti-government. They're called the Turtle Island Liberation Front. It's almost a comical name, but they were anything but comical, according to US authorities. They had deadly intent. They were off in the desert. That's why we were showing the images there of that press conference that they held. The FBI had a spotter plane up filming them as they'd gone into the desert near LA to test their bombs. They had the precursor chemicals. They were making and testing bombs. So this wasn't, just chat, idle chat. They were in the final stages of preparing for a series of attacks that were going to target 2 companies described as logistic companies on New Year's Eve at multiple locations, as you said, Andrew, 5 different locations. But in addition to that, they also had further intention of going after ICE agencies, immigration and customs enforcement officers in the US who are so proactive at the moment, of course, under orders from President Trump to go after the illegal immigrants in the US and to remove them from the country. So these far left groups have the likes of ICE agents in their sights. So there's no doubt, as I say, the authorities believe that this was a deadly plot. And just one of a number of plots and threats that are now being exposed in the run-up to Christmas and the New Year. We heard, of course, in Paris about them scaling back their plans for fireworks displays on New Year's Eve because of real concerns about the terror threat in that country. There have been 6 failed terror plots in recent months in France. A plot to attack a Christmas market in southern Bavaria in Germany was also uncovered at the beginning of this week and 5 people arrested. And now we've got what's unfolding in Australia. The terror threat picture at the moment is it's diverse. It's growing in terms of the threat from Islamist groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS, who we had thought we had resigned to history. They're there, they're resurgent, and they're planning and inspiring attacks in the West.
Means you've got to be extra careful, don't we?
Yeah,
We've got to be very alert.
picture.
Well, it's always at this time of the year, yes, that the police will get out that messaging for people just not to be alarmed, they say, but certainly to be vigilant.
All right, Mark
Well, thank you, Mark, for that update.